Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to apologize Sukhrit sir for conducting this afternoon session very late. Sorry for that. We may need to wait. Okay, so welcome back to ATAL sponsored 6-day faculty development program on generative AI and cyber security challenges. So today, the topic of today's session is GA on AWS. So today we have with us Supreet Sangadi sir. So who is the A&ML specialist startups solutions architect, Amazon Web Services. So to mention few points on Supreet. So I would like to mention few achievements and contributions at AWS of Supreet sir. So sir is the point of contact for AI/ML and generative AI workloads for AWS startups, India and Asia Pacific Japan. So he is the most valuable person award. He got the most valuable person award at AWS startups segment, India and APJ 4 times. And he has got the reward and recognition as the AWS Cloud Engineer 12 times. So he was a speaker at AWS re:Invent 2023-2024 at Las Vegas, USA on how to attain sustainability in HVACs through machine learning. So he was a speaker at other notable events such as AWS Singapore Summit, AWS Mumbai Summit and AI Conclave TIL. So, Supreet was a mentor at the top institutes and e-cells such as IIT Delhi, IIT Hyderabad, T-Hub Hyderabad, and used to conduct workshops on generative AI to get graduates and startups. So, he was a mentor and speaker for hackathons conducted by Lightspeed, Entrepreneur First, leading VCs. And to mention other achievements of Supreet, so he has been awarded as youngest boy in India to operate computers at the age of 2 years, 1 month by the Education Minister. So give him a big round of applause. And he was honored by ex-Defense Minister Bhutta Singh at the age of 13 for being awarded as Best Commander and representing India in NASA Space Camp. And he was winner of Coders with All India Coding Championship during 2019. So really we are very fortunate to have you with us sir for today's session. So we, on behalf of this organizing committee, would like to thank you for accepting our invitation and we welcome you for the session. Sir. Over to Supreet sir.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. So firstly, you can all address me as Sweet. I'm not old enough to be called as Sony. I'm a 2019 graduate from MS Ramaya on the science branch. And yeah, it's been a good journey at AWS. I started my career at AWS. As I graduated in 2019, it's been 5.5 years at AWS for me. So I do a lot of things outside AWS. I mostly or am on the board of studies for RB, MS Ramaya, BMS, and so on. So I help the colleges kind of build their curriculum accordingly so that the students are industry ready when they graduate. So that's been most of my work, outside work. And yeah, I'm very glad to be here, privileged to be here to share a couple of insights that I have again. So to get started with, how many of you here use LLMs or generative AI in one or the other fashion? It could be through ChatGPT, it could be through Anthropic Cloud, for whatever reasons. It could be for setting up questions, it could be for some assignments, it could be for just browsing some information. How many of you use LLMs and ChatGPT? I use for everything, right? Yeah. That's great to see. We'll see why we have to embrace the technology. There's a lot of rumors about or speculation about generative AI replacing us. Do we really require software engineers because LLMs can write code? Do we really require security engineers because LLMs can automate these checks? Right? So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an overview of how generative AI differentiates from the traditional artificial intelligence and machine learning. Right? When to go for generative AI, when to go for machine learning, when should I use artificial intelligence, and what is the difference between all these three? Most of the times, these three terms are interchangeably used in the wrong fashion. Where somewhere you need to call something artificial intelligence, people call it generative AI. People need to call it as machine learning, they tag it as Gen AI and whatnot, right? So we'll take a look at that. So to get started with, I want to get started with this slide first. Human beings are tool builders. This is one thing that we need to understand for sure. Now, over the years, what we have done is we have been developing from one technology to another, right? We started with artificial intelligence. We realized, hey, we need something much more complex to solve much more complex problem statements. Then we moved ahead to machine learning, right? Now we realized that, hey, machine learning can't tackle all the traditional or classical ML problems. We need something much more powerful. That's when we went towards deep learning. Post deep learning, what we do? We finally came to generative AI, right? So human beings are tool builders. They end up building a lot of things. Maybe 2 years down the line, we also have something called as super AGI. That is something that OpenAI is working on, Amazon is working on right now. So we'll end up building a lot of tools. We need to understand that we have to accept that these technologies will come. Some of them might replace us. Some of them might make us being better at whatever we work at. Right? For example, it has helped me be a better engineer, be a better solutions architect in multiple different fashions. So today we'll unlock the full potential and the power of what we can use generative AI for. Right? Firstly, why should we embrace the technology, right? In the ever-evolving space, why should I? And again, whatever you see on this entire slide deck, it's all generated by generative AI. I've ensured that all the images are generated by generative AI, right? So, if you look at it, now, Volvo was the one who invented the driving lock system that we have, right? The seatbelt that we have. All the cars use the seatbelt right now, and they are all of the same mechanism, which we call as a three-point seatbelt. Volvo is the one who first innovated it, and they made it free. Though it was patented under Volvo, they made it free for all their competitors as well because safety was their importance, right? Now, how the cars evolved over time, so you can just take a look at the Volvo's evolution itself, right? Where I'm getting to is, this is going to happen. You would have seen, how many of you are aware of Hugging Face here? Have come across Hugging Face? Yeah. Hugging Face is like GitHub for your generative AI, right? Whatever comes out, whoever builds certain models and LLMs and whatnot, they end up on Hugging Face if they want to be open source. I'm just giving this analogy to LLMs right now because what Volvo did was they open sourced their technology. That is what most of the other competitors right now are trying to do, right? Everyone's trying to make LLMs available to everyone so that they can utilize and make the best use out of it. Now, let's go to the next one. If at first the idea is not absurd, then there is no hope for it, right? This is basically the inflection point right now. We are trying to explore so many different technologies where the idea is to automate a lot of tasks but not replace humans, right? Alright. Now, a quick question to all of you. When did you think generative AI came into the picture? Just take a guess on the years. Um, Anyone who says it was in the last 5 years? Generative AI? Last 5 years? 2020? Okay. How many of you say it's between 2010 to 2020? Anyone? Okay, there's one person. There are a couple. Anyone who says it was between 2000 to 2010? No? No generative AI back then? Okay. So this is the first paper that was published on generative AI which got accepted, and this was in 1990 by the way. Right. So generative AI has been here. I'll tell you what we didn't have. We didn't have the compute capacity. Right. The technology was always there with us. We didn't have the compute to execute that. So the first paper on generative AI. So this clearly reads out generating appropriate natural language object description, and this was published on April 13th, 1990. Right. So this was the first published and accepted paper on generative AI. This was back in 1990. It took us 34 years, 31 years or whatever, 30 to 31 years for us to get the compute capability to even execute this paper. Right? So generative AI is not new, it's just that the practical implementation of it is pretty much. Right? That's the first thing that we need to understand. Before that, this is how the superset looks like when it comes to artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. Right? I have a very good slide for that. In fact, let me just quickly. Just give me. Yeah. So this is basically how you can segregate artificial intelligence, machine learning, and generative AI. Right? So the superset of everything, all the machine learning, deep learning, generative AI comes under artificial intelligence. Now, what is artificial intelligence? It's just a technique that can help you mimic human intelligence. Now, when I say it mimics human intelligence, it could be just a simple if-else logic, or it could be a very complex ML model, deep learning model, or generative AI. Now the idea is, let's say, as a human, what would I do? I would just step outside. If I want to predict if it's going to rain today, what would I do? I'll just step outside and look at the sky. If I look at the moisture content in the atmosphere, I look at the sky, if there are no clouds, I will say, hey, it's not going to rain today. Now, what does the machine learning models do, or the artificial intelligence tools do? It captures some sensor data, it captures some images of the sky and says, okay, it's not going to rain. Why? Because there's no clouds that I can see, and the sensor data says that the humidity is very low. That itself is artificial intelligence. So you use a very complex deep learning model, generative AI, or a simple if-else logic. It's still artificial intelligence at the end of the day. Now let's go one step deeper. Machine learning, right? What is machine learning? Again, it's a subset where we are learning some trends or patterns within the data, right? And we are using machine to learn that. So these are not very simple if-else logics. We have some data where we are not able to capture the trends of the data through naked eye. If I just look at the data, I won't be able to understand what the data looks like or what the trends in the data is. So I use an ML model to do that. Very simple logic is predicting the price of a house based on certain parameters, right? Now let's go a bit more deeper, right? Deep learning. Now, what we realized is, okay, machine learning models are good enough for your regression and classification problem statements. What happens when speech recognition, image recognition comes into the picture? We need much more complex scenarios. We need a model that can think like a brain or a brain cell. Brain cell is nothing but what? Neuron. That's basically how deep learning or neural networks came into the picture. Now we started using much more complex data, multi-layer network, passing in the data, helping it understand the trends in the data, and then build a model out of it. That's deep learning. Finally, coming to the last one, that's generative AI. Now we realize that, okay, deep learning, machine learning involves a lot of supervised learning. When I say supervised learning, the data needs to be labeled. Now we realize that, okay, there is a lot of unlimited data out there in the market. How do we use that to train the models? That's basically what we call as generative AI or intelligence of the right now. And yeah, any questions so far? Any questions? You can, it's not going to be a one-way thing, right? I'll do definitely cover certain slides and certain concepts, I'll give certain demos and so on. But if at all you have any kind of questions or clarifications, please feel free to speak. Alright, now we have understood what generative AI is. Let's move to the next hype cycle of generative AI. Right? So this was in 2023, and sorry, this was in 2022. Yeah, this is in 2022 and that's in 2023. Hype cycle is basically, Gartner is one of the top market researchers or surveyors who collect a lot of data and understand what the trends of the IT industry is. Right? So Gartner published this report in 2023 versus 2022. Now in 2022, you can see that the expectations versus the time graph, we had generative AI which was just picking up and reaching the peak, right? So there was a lot of speculation that generative AI might work or might not work. We never know. Right? But as you see in 2023, it has reached the peak point right now. Meaning to say there is a lot of innovation going in, there's a lot of products that are coming out, and generative AI has done it. It has reached the peak point, and this is the right time for all of us to learn the technology and adopt the technology. I'll tell you why, because in the few years, a lot of things will get automated. For example, it could be as simple as taking attendance in a particular classroom. There might be just a system that can look at the faces of all the students who are present in the classroom and take attendance. There might be something like, let's say, going through the curriculum and then setting the question paper as well, as simple as that, right? Or the evaluation of candidates as well. All of these things will get automated eventually. So remember that it will not be AI or generative AI that will replace you. It will be the people who know how to use this technology who will replace you. So it's not a bad thing after all for you to learn this technology and be ready for the market trends. Right? Now let's look at some of the nuances when it comes to AI or Gen AI, right? So some of the things are, for example, there are a bunch of things. One is compassion needed or compassion not needed, and what level of optimization should we do, and what is the creativity or strategy that's required, right? AI can never sustain on its own. That is the first thing that we need to understand. Humans are always around whatever the AI gives us a response, and you do the analysis. And what you then do is mix of both the human logic and the AI logic. That will be the final output, where AI is just a tool, but it is mixed with the creativity that the humans bring. Now, you'll always have AI, ML models, deep learning models, and generative AI models. It's just that what creativity can the human bring in and teach the models to learn accordingly. That's basically what we are looking at here. Alright, now using generative AI is just a few functions could drive most of the technology's impact. So here are some, I'm not sure if people in the back can see, but here are some of the industries which are heavily getting impacted right now through generative AI. Right? At the top, you'll see the software engineering industry, customer operations, marketing, sales. These are getting heavily impacted. Impacted as in the productivity is going very high. For example, a sales, right, from the marketing side of things. If I have to sell this particular plant right now, people used to do a lot of photo shoots for a product, keep it in certain backgrounds and do the photo shoots and then put it on and with a very nice catchy description and all of that. Today I can do this in 5 minutes where I can change the background, make it appear that it's in front of the Himalayan mountains or a certain river and write a very catchy description all using generative AI. Right? So that's how some of the top industries are getting affected heavily right now. Some of the low-lying ones are procurement engagement, for example, logistic industry. They are not getting affected heavily because it's all manual work that's going on, right? Then comes, yeah, this is basically what I have been speaking since the beginning of the. This is what I've been speaking since the beginning of the session. The top performers at your company will always be AI-enabled workers. Someone who can use AI really well will always end up being the top performance at the company. Now, when I say company, this need not be IT industry. This could be the teaching industry. This could be the students themselves and whatnot, right? So, what I would recommend is try and get accustomed to this technology, learn it, and embrace the technology rather than avoiding it, right? So this is basically what I was saying. You won't be replaced by AI, but you could be someone who knows how to use AI, right? So ensure that you know what the technology is and what is trending towards. Now I'm just going to give you an overview. Soon after this, I'll quickly start with some of the demos of the products. I'll use most of the time to demo certain solutions, right? So generative AI is simple. Now we have a user input that goes to the GenAI solution, and we get a system output, right? Now what does this look like? For instance, I might ask a very simple question saying, I would like a text about generative AI. Goes to a GenAI solution, and that is the brief description that I have got, right? Which says a brief, paragraph about whatever I have asked for. On the similar lines, we have something called as code whisperer. How many of you do active coding and develop some solutions or write some scripts here? Anyone? Anything, it could be anything. It could be Bash script, C, C++, Python, Java, any of this. Anyone do any kind of active coding here? Python, yeah. And most of you, I think, for certain labs, one or the other way, you'll be, yeah. So I think most of you will have one or the other language where you'll be doing some level of coding here, right? So this is something called as code whisperer. I'll give you a brief demo of that as well. It automates your task of writing a code as well, right? You give a certain prompt and it can generate a code for you, right? Should we take a demo of that and then we'll come back? Yeah, let's actually do that. Alright, let's do one thing. Anyone has any recommendation on what code we should write in Python, let's say? Anyone can give any suggestion. Let's test it out if generative AI is up to the mark and it will actually replace us. Anyone? Sorry? Password generation. Python? There you go. You can write some test cases as well. Yeah. So we have an entire tool ready in how many seconds? So very less than 100. We have the entire logic ready. Now let's say someone has written a code I want to understand. Now let's say you are trying to look into some code that's on the internet that generates password. And first thing that I hate to do is understanding someone else's code. Right? Where I have to read their code, understand how they've written it. Right? I can do a very simple thing. I can just say, I can ask whatever kind of questions that I want on this particular topic. Let's say I select this code and add it as context, right? Let me do that first. Yeah. See, it is very simple to not just, it's the reverse engineering as well. Not just generating code, if there is already existing code, it can explain what does it do. This code defines a password generation system with a testing suite. Here is the breakdown. Now, we use this in real time at Amazon for creating documentation for our code bases. Right? Now imagine a developer who is able to, no one stopping you. See, at the end of the day, anyone, be it our colleges, be it our IT industry, be it our companies, they, at the end of the day, they just want the work to be done. They don't care you're using generative AI, you're using AI, or you're using your pure brains, nobody cares about it. Let's say a software engineer who's able to achieve this in a few seconds versus a software engineer who's able to do this in 2 hours. So you can think about who can be more productive, right? So for people who are wondering what this tool is called, this is called a cursor. You would have all heard about JetBrains, you would have all heard about Eclipse, PyCharm, right? You would have all heard about these ideas. Also VS Code, Visual Studio. So this particular tool is called cursor, C-U-R-S-O-R. So if anyone wants to explore that, you can definitely take a note and you can explore it in the future, right? So this is how simple things are getting, right? So yeah, coming back to this. So the last slide that we covered was how we can automate the generation of code. That is what we took a look at right now. Right? Now let's get into a step deeper. So there are much more things that we can do. Right? Now this is to help you understand how generative AI works altogether. Right? So there's a user input. You ask the GenAI solution, you get a user output. What actually goes on in the background? The user input enters first. Right? First goes to the understanding layer, right? Now what happens in the understanding layer? The machine needs to understand, okay, what exactly is happening? What is the user asking for? What should I do here? How should I break down this problem statement, right? So the understanding layer does that and then goes to the reasoning and knowledge layer. Reasoning and knowledge layer is where now the LLM knows what the user is asking for. LLM is nothing but your large language model. Now it knows what the user is asking for. Then goes to the reasoning and knowledge step. So it understands, okay, I have this knowledge, I can do this, and then executes that. That comes to the generation. Generation is exactly what you saw when the code was getting generated. That's that particular layer. Final layer is safety and responsibility. Right? Most of the times, for example, marketing use cases, you're generating images. The images can contain any explicit content or any dangerous content as well. So we need to ensure that that is also kept safe. That's why we have a safety and responsibility layer that completes that entire cycle. This is exactly what's happening with generative AI. Right. Any questions? No? What does it mean? Is it possible to improve the input? If so, then go to the next step. How do I resolve this requirement? The user is asking for certain things. How do I resolve this? Then goes to, okay, now I know how to resolve this, but where is the answer? Do I have it in my knowledge base? If I have it in my knowledge base, then go and generate the best answer that I can and customize the answer based on what the user is asking for. Once that answer is generated, understand if the solution is good enough. If the solution is good enough, is it safe and responsible? If yes, then give it as an output to the user. This is an overview of what this entire GenAI life cycle is. Alright, this is our, I think this is too small, but I'm going to quickly explain what are the services that we'll explore today as in terms of demo, or if you, some of you have your own AWS accounts, you can test it out with me as well. So this is called the AWS AI stack. Right? So first thing that you see is the top layer is called the AI services layer. AI services layer is nothing but managed services. Right? When I say managed services, it means, for example, can someone to mention any of the ML use cases that you can think of? It could be computer vision, NLP, whatever. You can mention what use cases come to your mind in terms of machine learning, artificial intelligence. Sorry? Data visualization. Yeah, that's a use case. What else? Anything else? Any ML with respect to, you can see certain services here as well. Anything that comes to your mind when it comes to machine learning. Data visualization is one, yes. What else? Classification, that's a very strong use case. Yes. Classification, regression is one. What else? Don't get me wrong, I'm just trying to keep the session interactive, that's it, nothing else. Yeah, what else can you think about? No answer is a wrong answer. Please go ahead and try. Right? Weather forecasting, that we have a use case, yes. Computer vision, detection of objects, that's a strong use case. Face similarity matching. How many of you have used DigiAthra? DigiAthra at airport? Basically, now the entire process is automated. You don't have to show your ID proof and then they look at your ticket and then they review it. That no longer has to be done. You can just update every detail in an app and you can just show your face to a particular system and it will let you in automatically. That's basically facial recognition. I'll show you one similar technology that was completely built by AWS on basically with my team. So I just want to show that solution on how that works, right? So altogether, there are a lot of these ML use cases, and AWS has built certain services that can directly be consumed by the consumers as API. That's the top layer. One of the services that we'll take a look at is called Amazon Recognition, which identifies objects, which can do facial matching and all of that, right? So we'll take a look at that. Then comes to the next layer, which is called Amazon SageMaker. SageMaker is nothing but it's an infrastructure as a service or platform as a service, right? So this will help you build your models of your own, where the first level was models are already built, they're giving you just API access to it. Here, if you wish to build your models of your own, then you can come to the second layer. Third layer is you want just some instances and framework support, for example, TensorFlow, PyTorch that you have heard in the ML space, right? If you just want some framework support, you can use them. Third layer. Right? Cool. Let's do one thing. Let's try out certain services. Now, this is there's a very strong ML use case. It's called OCR, right? Optical character recognition. Now, what does OCR do? Sometimes you give documents as an input. You want to extract the text out of it. Sometimes it could be as simple as automating the process of your, let's say, insurance claims. So you go to your, let's say, you visit a hospital and you have some bills that you want to reimburse or claim it over insurance. That is a standard OCR use case, right? Let me show you how you can do that. So this service is called Amazon Textract. Textract basically extracts text, as the name suggests, right? Now, if you look at this, there's a very complex invoice or a document that has a number of things, right? Let me show you So here you can see there are a bunch of things in this. It is an earnings statement. It has a lot of things. It has the details about the company, it has some earnings reports, it has some deduction information, it has a paycheck with someone's signature and all of that. Now, some of the companies that we work with wants to detect all this information by themselves, right? For example, I want to understand what the company details are from this particular document. I want to understand, does this document have a signature or not, right? Or I want to ask some questions about this document and get an answer. For example, if I feed in this document and ask a question saying, what is the gross pay? It should give me the answer saying 452, what you're seeing here, right? So, if at all you start building this model by yourself, what are the challenges that will come across the field, right? Or some of you might be exploring into ML phase or data analytics phase. What are the typical challenges that you usually face? You guys can take a stab at it. No answer is a wrong answer. What are the typical challenges that you come across when you're building the ML model of your own or when you're working with data at scale? Data set collection, very good point. Sorry? API keys? Okay, that is one. Sorry? Imbalancing data, very good point. We call that as dirty data. Yes. What else? Exactly right. The first challenge that will always come across when you're building models of your own is collecting quality data. I tell you why. Your ML model is only as good as your data. If you have good data, your ML model will be good. If you have very bad data, unclean data, or what you call as the dirty data, your ML model will end up accordingly. Right? That is the first challenge. Second challenge. What is the most widely come across challenge? Choosing the algorithm. Yes, that's correct. Or can we put it in this way? For example, I might be an expert in NLP, but I've been given a problem statement to build computer vision models from scratch. So I don't have the right skill set. So the second problem statement is the skill set. Sometimes I might be good at one certain domain of machine learning, but I don't know how to do some certain other things. For example, let's say I can build a model that can do sentiment analysis really well, but I don't know how to build this OCR engine, right? That's basically when you start exploring this managed services, right? So here you can see I just give this document as an input, and here is the extraction of all the output. Whatever text you see on this document is being extracted here, right? Next, what else? Apart from the text, what else can you collect? Key value pairs. Key value pairs is what we call as form data. Company name is ABC. file number is whatever, department ID is this, clock is this, period ending is this, and all of that, right? All the key value pairs that we can detect from here. Next is tabular data. Whatever tabular data you can find in this particular document, right? So you can see that is a certain table and we're getting the tabular data there. There is one more table that we have and we're getting the tabular data. Finally, I can just ask questions like, what is the year-to-date gross pay? And it has already pointed me out saying 23,526. So this model only takes the document as an input and a query as an input, and it's able to give me an output saying this is the final answer, right? And you can see what is the federal income tax this period, minus 40.60. You can see that is directly here, right? Federal income tax is minus 40.60. I don't have to build a model from scratch. I can just use the existing APIs to get this done, right? So this is just one of the services that I wanted to quickly cover. This is called Amazon Text Track, right? On similar lines, we have something called as Amazon Complement, right? Hope this is visible to the people in the back. Is visible? Okay. Now, sentiment analysis is a very key topic. Again, people, where can sentiment analysis be used? Any industry that you can think of? Sentiment analysis. Stock market, yes, absolutely. Where else? Sorry? Financial institutions, yes. What is the sentiment on a certain stock? Should I buy or sell? What are the people telling about the stock in the business? That is one definite thing. Where do you write your reviews mostly? Social media, or it could be on your restaurants, hospitality chains. So the hospitality department is very critical when it comes to reviews, right? So these are some of the industries or a product as well. For example, Amazon, you are about to buy a product, the first thing that I do is check the reviews on that. Are the reviews good? And all those reviews, you will see some certain sentiment there. That is basically automated through the sentiment analysis, right? So you can see the sentiment of certain, the first thing, okay, I'll come in a certain order. Entities that I can detect from this given text. Entities could be a person's name, organization, quantity, date, location, and all of that, right? So this particular model can detect those automatically. Key phrases. What are the key phrases that I can detect to summarize this entire text, right? That is one thing. Language detection. To understand what language this particular text is written in, right? So I can do the language detection automatically. PII data. If you go to the healthcare industry or fintech industry, this is of utmost importance. PII is nothing but personally identifiable information, right? So you can see what are the PII data, name of a person, credit card number, date, time, address, and so on, right? Then comes the sentiment analysis, which gives you a value between neutral, positive, negative, or mixed, right? Then finally we have something called as syntax, which will analyze your grammatical structure of the entire text, right? So this is again one of the services. Now let's get a bit more deeper into some real-time use cases. For example, the Digiyatra use case that I was talking about uses a service called recognition. Let me show you the live solution as well that me and my team have built out for Digiyatra, right? Alright, so this is the service that I'm talking about. It's called Amazon Recognition. What it primarily does is label detection is the first place. For example, I want to detect all kind of objects in this image, right? If you click on this, it says car, this is a skateboard, this is a person, this is a building, and whatnot. You can see a lot of real-time use cases around this, right? If I go for a different object altogether, yeah, this is a car, this is a board that you can see, right? So I basically get all the labels in this particular image. Similarly, if I have to do some kind of facial analysis, is this person smiling? Are their eyes open? What gender are they? What is the age range, right? So it says look like a face, 99.9%. Appears to be a female, 98.7%. Age range is 24 to 30. Smiling, 89%. So this is the technology that we are leveraging to build out this DigiAdra solution. Let me quickly show you how that works out, right? So this is the pitch that we had made to the DigiAdra team as well. Let me just delete all the faces. Alright, let's do the first thing. For example, the face identification, right? So I'm just going to try identifying my face. What it says is there are no face matches. Right? So it says there are no face matches because there's nothing in the database currently. Right? So here you can see the face matches is empty at this junction. Let us do one thing. Let us register a face to a collection and then try identifying the face. Right? So I'm going to register my face to the collection. So here, let's remember this face ID, right? The one ending with F159. Now I have registered my face to this particular collection. I'll tell you what a collection is and what registering face means. When the machine learning model looks at my face, it detects features saying the eye is present in this particular coordinate, the nose is present here, the mouth is present here, this person has a mustache, this person has a beard, and basically converts my entire facial representation into numerical vector and then stores it in a database. Right? Now I have stored this image which says F159. Now if I go and do a face identification with a live image, now here you can see the face match with F159. Here it was able to detect my face. Not just this, right? Now the real-time use case, face comparison between me and my document, government ID. Right? Let's do a quick check on that as well. So I've just taken a picture of myself now, and I'm gonna let me just pull up my passport. Yeah. This is a passport that I got done years ago, right? So here I'm just comparing my face to the face in my passport. And here you can see the face match is still 98.13%. Right? This is the same technology that we are using in all the airports right now across India for the DigiAdra solution. Right? So here you can see, I mean, a lot of people don't recognize me who met me years ago, right? Saying, I mean, you have now grown your hair and whatnot. This is how I used to look, let's say 5 years ago. And not a lot of people can recognize me, but here is the model that says the face similarity is 98.13%. Right? If anyone else wants to give a quick try with this to try to match against my face, feel free to come here. Anyone wants to try? Please come ahead. So here you can see what happened to the, thank you sir. Thank you. So here what do you see? The face match is 0. Right? So that's basically how, sorry? So this is my passport versus source image. Right? So for example you see here, right, the face match is 0, but if I quickly clear this photo and take my photo here, so if I clear that and take my photo, this has come as a face match with similarity of 97.5%. Because these are all deterministic models. The same, now the positioning of my face in the image, it might have changed even a bit, right? That will affect the confidence. Sorry, come again. Correct. That's correct. No, it might increase or it might decrease. It might not be the exact same. No, no, it can never go above 100%, right? It will never hit 100% as well. See, the closest it is to 100%, it is the perfect match, right? So anything about, usually what we do is we put something called as thresholding. We keep 80% as the threshold. Sometimes what happens is, look at this, now I have a colored image. A lot of people provide black and white images as the, what happens there, right? So we usually keep a threshold saying anything above 80% is good enough. That's basically what we do. Right? So this has worked against, surprisingly, my Aadhaar card, which I got years ago now, right, when I was still in high school. And not just my Aadhaar card, even my PAN card, driver's license and whatnot. So that's how developed the technology is right now. So yeah, any questions about this particular technology? This is for Amazon recognition. We also have live sentiment detector, registering faces that we already did, face identification and whatnot. So, yeah. These are some of the technologies we are actually using in industry scale with some of the Apollo hospitals is something that you would know, Manipal hospitals you would know. Face detection for doctors to get authorized access to ICUs and so on. So these are all in production right now, which my team has. Right. So yeah, this is one of the industry ready use cases and some of the solutions that we have developed. Any questions? No? How many of you have have you applied for credit cards or debit cards from home? How many of you have got eKYC done from home? Some of them I believe at least, yeah. During the process of eKYC, have they asked you to take a photo of yourself, or have they come on a video and then verified certain things, asked you to sign a signature on a white paper? Demat account creation, exactly, right. So we have a very good solution for that. Again, you might think about HDFC Bank, Equitas, Federal Bank, SBI, all of them are using this solution right now. It's called face liveness. So sometimes what happens is we have a very severe, I would say, a fraud case that's going on right now. It's called person identification, right? Basically what they do is, someone holds a photo of me in front of the camera and so on, where it's not human monitored, and they impersonate me, saying that this is the same person, and they take credit cards on my name and my credentials. So for that we have something called as liveness detection, right? So let me just show you how the liveness detection works. So it says liveliness check complete, 82.56, and then it says you can maximize your screen brightness, avoid very light writing conditions to get better results. This is the first layer of eKYC that most of the banks right now adopt, including Paytm as well, who are on AWS, right? So these are some of the solutions that are already industry grade. And I would say even for students or someone who's just graduating from the colleges right now should be aware of all these technologies, because most of this, what I've been trying to convey to most of the universities where I'm on the board of studies, this could be RV, BMS or Ramaya, which is my alma mater as well, that we should have a lot of labs involving these new technologies. At least one lab per semester is required to educate the students on what's happening in the industry, because the curriculum is right now outdated on what I see. Right? So it's better to kind of understand what technologies are coming out and then get accustomed to it accordingly. Right? So yeah, any other questions regarding this particular technology? Anything else anyone wants to try out, test? Anything? No? Sorry, come again. Okay. I'm so sorry, I didn't get you. Yeah.
So that will be totally if you have, let's say, a green screen or a 2D environment or artificially generated image, that will be the welcome of as model. So here, everything, even if I show it on a phone, will still be a live image. So that can be moderated by you. So if it's something like a green screen generated image or something that the LLM has generated, and you're trying to embed that into it, that's what as Sorry? Yeah, we can do that actually. Generate an image later on, and then we can write all the levels.
Cool. Let's see what else.
Is it possible when giving the features of a one space, will you be able to recreate image?
It's a very good question. So, sir is asking if I give the features of a person's face, will I be able to create an image? We can actually try it out. It's not going to be the same as what you think. So, though this is what you're asking for is not traditional ML, this is generative AI, right? Okay. Before that, I'll just quickly cover one thing and then we'll come to your topic. We checked out what extract can do, right? Basically, document processing that can detect text out of given documents. Now, I tell you two different approaches. This we used using extract. Let me show another way of doing this, right? So we all looked at that particular. Let me just give this as an input. Perfect. So this is the same document that we gave there, right? Now what I'm going to do is find all entities. See what I'm doing? So this is just like, I'll tell you what Claude 3.5 Sonnet is. This is just like your GPT models, what you use under ChatGPT. This is a different platform, but it's the same models, right? Now, what I would like to, for you to notice is, here we saw this form data, company name ABC, file number this, department is this, clock is this. And what am I seeing on this platform? It is able to give the same answers. Company name is this, file number is this, department is this, clock is this. So for every problem statement that you have at least 2 or more ways to address that. Now, the problem comes with where is, what is the right solution for this? That is where you draw a line between, should I go ahead with artificial intelligence, should I use machine learning, or should I use generative AI, right? That's basically the gist of what I wanted to cover in this particular use case. So you can use both models like GPT or what we call as Claude 3.5. Or you can use traditional ML like extract as well, right? Now coming to image playground, right? Okay. Anyone wants to create image of our face? Certain sir mentioned wanted some certain features. You can try it also. Please come in. Or you can just tell me, I'll interact with you. I can tell whatever features you wish. Human, like let's say realistic image of a human with a round face. With a mustache. Okay. Black eye. Sharp nose. Okay. Normal eyebrows. Okay, dimple might be hard. Let's see if it can do that. With a dimple, background of hills. I don't know. Okay, let's try it out. This should be good. I don't know what's the responsibility. Let's still. Does that match your description? Human with a round face, mustache, black eye, sharp nose, normal eyebrows with a dimple. I don't think dimple was caught, but background of hills. Anyone else want to try? Thank you, sir. Anyone else want to try something else? I can show you the art of possibility, right? For example, this just doesn't end. I mean, see, there's something called as prompt engineering, right? I'll make use of this particular moment to help you understand the concept called prompt engineering. What we type right now is not prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is where you define your prompts or your request in a very well-defined manner. I'll show you what prompt engineering is. Right? Now you tell me if this image looks much more better and does this look better in terms of just generation capabilities, right? Not just this. Let's look for this as well. So this is photorealistic of a woman sitting in a field watching the kite fly in the sky, stormy sky, highly detailed concept art, intricate professional composition. This is called prompt engineering, and look at the quality of the image, right? So there's this very important concept called prompt engineering. We should very well define what the model has to do, right? So we just told certain features and told it to generate image, but we didn't guide it. Here we are guiding it by saying it should be a concept art, it should be very intricate, it should be a professional composition. Now it was able to generate a very good image for us. That's basically how it works typically. Be it image generation or be it text generation, the level of prompting that you do matters for the kind of quality of response that you get from the LLMs. Right? Hope that makes sense. Yeah. Anyone else want to try anything else? Anything? Please feel free to come in. We can try one more image if anyone wants to try something.
Can we try instead of image fingerprint or
Sorry?
fingerprint and or
No, that will not be. You can try, I mean, there's no harm in it. Fingerprint, how would you define a fingerprint? Okay, fingerprint of a person. It should be able to do something, but this is again not prompt engineering, what I mentioned, right? The prompt should be very well defined on what you exactly need.
correct information about the certain specific fingerprint or
That will not be needed. That will not be possible. See, this is a fingerprint. If you ask for a fingerprint, there's a fingerprint. Right? So, yeah. Right. So again, fingerprints are very unique to each of the humans, right? So it will be very hard for the machine to replicate. And you won't be able to now tell me how would you explain my fingerprint. I'll generate it. You'll be able to explain a certain fingerprint, right? That is where I'm going from. So this is a gist of what you can do, and apart from that, let me show you the capabilities of the text models as well, right? Now these are all the different LLMs. Now, what you have only heard about in the market right now is ChatGPT and GPT models. These are all the LLMs that are in the commercial use right now. So there are two things. One is the retail use and one is the commercial use. Retail is where people are using it and students are using it. And I'll ask one question to all of you. Why do you think ChatGPT has a lot of visibility and not these models? Sorry? Exactly. There is one. Free. What else? Optimized, easy to use, marketing. I'll tell you two main reasons are one is it's free to a certain extent, and two, the level of marketing that's there. ChatGPT, when it hit the market, that was the first LLM that came to the market. When everyone looked at ChatGPT, everyone were amused, saying, "Oh my God, what is the capability?" I mean, right? All of us finished our assignments, our coding, everything through ChatGPT. So there is much more beyond. One thing that you need to understand is there is much more beyond ChatGPT or GPT models. These are all the set of LLMs that are in production right now with a lot of the industry use cases. The retail use of ChatGPT is right here, and the commercial use is right here. These are the models that have a very high commercial use because they are purpose ready, and these are not free. Because the quality is so good, these are not free, right? So you have to take a look at some of these models. You can use something called as Claude.ai, CLAUDE.ai to get access to Claude models, right? So let's just note some of the examples, right? For example, I want to advanced Q&A with citations, right? So there's a huge document that I've shared, and I wanted to answer certain questions with citations, right? So this is the LLM generating the answer for me. Let me show you what the question was in the first place. In bullet points and simple terms, summarize the key challenges in evaluating AI systems. So this was a write-up on AI systems. So it has asked some of, in bullet points, summarize the key challenges in evaluating AI systems. And this is the answer that we got. Okay, let me ask one question, right? Now we have our event. Let's say, yeah. So this is the event that we are all are attending right now. Do you think any of the LLMs will be able to answer some question about the event? If I ask something like, I think I had some certain list of questions. Just a minute. Okay. Do you think it will be able to answer who the resource people are for the event? When is the event? What is FDP? Do you think the elements can answer this question? For this particular event. So we have this event details, right? We have this AICTE training and learning by ATAL, sponsored by ATAL. This is called Generative AI and Cybersecurity Challenges. Any question that I asked about this event, do you think the LLM will be able to answer? Yes. How many people say yes? Okay. How many people say no? It won't be able to answer. Okay. For the people who are telling no, and I'll tell you both of you are right. It can answer and it cannot answer. I'll tell you why. For the people who are saying yes, okay. For the people who are saying no, why do you think it won't be able to answer the question about the event? That's a very good answer. See, what happens is every LLM or a model has certain training time. All the models right now that are in production that you see are only trained till data that's till April or May. They are not trained with the recent most data. Something that you ask about, something that's happening in the internet, it won't be able to answer. For example, let's ask some certain question. Now, I'll again let you folks decide what question should I ask about recent events that happened. What is the recent event that happened? Okay. What do you want me to ask? How many medals did India win in? Let's ask about Paralympics 2024. What did the model say? I apologize, but there's an error in your question. The Paralympics 2024 has not yet taken place. Has it not taken place? It has. The Paralympics has ended. It says the next summer Paralympics are scheduled to be in Paris from August 28th to September 8th. We are already done. Today is what, September 27th? So the model says my question is wrong. It says the event hasn't happened yet. And it says the most recent Paralympics was in 2021, where India won a total of 19 medals. So it's giving me older answer. Now, do you think you'll be able to answer about this week's event? Obviously not, because it's not in the training data. How do we make it work? Right? Let me now. What model are we using here? Claude 3.5 Sonnet. The same question. If you ask another model called Claude 3 Sonnet, these are one of the biggest models and the best models in the market right now. If I ask the same question to Claude 3 Sonnet as well, I expect a very similar answer. See, we expect that the LLMs will replace us, but when you look at some of the answers, you feel don't even think before answering the question, right? 2024 Paralympics has not yet happened, but it has already happened, right? Now, you remember the models, Claude 3.5 Sonnet and Claude 3 Sonnet. Now, I'm going to ask the same question with a bit of tweaking, something called as knowledge bases, right? And what I'm going to do is, let me just switch my Yes. This one. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is, I have one knowledge base created for the AICTE event. What models did we choose there? We chose 3.5 on it. Yeah, those two are the ones that we took. Now let me ask some questions about our event. Who are the resource people for the event? Okay. Test come out with certain answer. It says the resource persons for this image include Dr. Rashmi Bilgavi. So there's Anuj. Oh, it has my name as well. So now the same model I'm able to make it work for this particular event. I'm going to ask some other question. When is the event? What is FDP? Let's ask. Let's make it a bit fun, right? Let's ask the base model what FDP is. I have chat playground. I'm going to ask what is FDP. Yeah, I'm going to ask what is FDP. I expect that to be good faculty development program, right? Just give me a minute. Let me change my model. What is FDP? It says FDP typically stands for Free Democratic Party. Right. No, it's not stopping, by the way. It's going on and on about what it thinks FDP is. There is a very important concept called hallucination. Right? It is called hallucination. Now I'll tell you what hallucination is. I'm going to ask a question to all of you here. What is crave? C-R-A-V, crave. What is crave? What is crave? Sorry? No, please speak out. Like I said, my answer is wrong. What is crane? It's a vehicle or a construction equipment. Okay. What else can be crane? It is a bird. Now, who's right, who's wrong? Right? I'm asking me one. No, both of you are not wrong. But for me, I was thinking about bird when you said about the vehicle. So for me, you are hallucinating. Meaning to say, I'm asking the LLM in a certain context or certain question, right? And you are telling about something else. Now, let's say all of us are bird enthusiasts. This is a bird enthusiast meetup. If asked what is crane, how many people would say it is a construction equipment? Barely none. Everyone would say it's a bird, right? Why? Because there is some context there. Exactly what we're setting up here. Now, here, FDP it says typically stands for Free Democratic Party. Let me test my knowledge base and ask what FDP is, right? Just give me a minute. Let me quickly change the model. Yeah. Now, is the answer relevant? FDP stands for Faculty Development Program. This we are doing at Vivekananda Institute of Technology, Bangalore. The topic is this. Does it make sense now? And what model did we use? It's the same models that we are using. Right? So that's the reason why I said the answer is both yes and no. It can do it. There are certain techniques that you'll have to use to make it work. Right? So yeah, this is basically one of those aspects where we call as something called as knowledge basis. I would definitely, it's not a concept that I can probably explain in just 1 hour, but I would definitely encourage you to look into a concept called RAG. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation. You should definitely look at that particular technique because that's widely used across the industry right now, right? And it can be of a lot of use for you as well for your day-to-day purposes. So definitely take a look at RAG. So yeah, I have a few more fun demos coming up. We'll take a quick break. Think sir says we'll take a quick tea break and then we can come back. I think 10 15 minutes we can come back.
Reverse engineer is out of the way. You can search those videos. One is called transformers. And they have something called an attention. Despite seem very complex, creative as in see again a lot of things are for marketing, generating campaigns, images for your marketing campaigns. For example, I want to sell water bottle. I can't sell it as if I take a picture. It has to look very attractive. Maybe like sitting on top of Himalayas. You can generate those images on the go. So the content creativity or basically what do you want to create is it's mix and match. You just have to mix and match. Not necessarily. Well, these are all those models that it's a closed source model and then you're generating something out of it. Then you can take off for IP and then again speak. There are again, that's a prompt engineering also. You have to tell them to let the model to write it in simple fashion. Yeah, there are a lot of tools. Again, the templates are complicated. So you have to learn how to implement very, very good. This is on AWS. Most of it is under premium. You have to pay for it.
And you said face balance. Can we use still images like we are taking a snap from the phone? Can we just take face likeness or?
Try it out actually. You should pay. Yeah.
And one more question, sir. You said you just gave the SDK. What is it like returning to the sequel of this? Why is showing only the present after playing this present? There are so many things going on.
Because I've provided the context for this question.
You have
Provided the context for this question. This for the knowledge base. You can provide the context for this particular question.
you're giving the input based on the
The first level of the solution is indexing the data. So I have a lot of PDF documents and everything that media marketing index all the documents into the solution. Nobody has gone through this and understand what I'm asking. That's why it was able to tell me what that is. Try out those three images as well as it's mostly about the demo because I think most of us don't have awareness about this. Around 4.5. Just try with this image maybe. Let's see.
ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಫೋಟೋಸ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ನಾನು ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ.
Correct.
ನನ್ನ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ಗೆ ಆಗಲಿ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ
True.
ಫೋಟೋ ಇಟ್ಟಂದ್ರೆ
Correct. Let's see how advanced the tech is. So,
Liveness confidence is 0. So it's working. Try on other images as well. The result should almost be the same. You can try with some different image also. Face in a certain angle as well, I think it is provided. Yes. So it only detects something that's a 3D phase and it is actually exactly.
It's good to use this awareness.
Don't use everything again. See, what field do you work? No, what is your area of focus? What do you want to do?
Sir, I want to focus on developing some apps for web development.
No, see, you have to. When I started I started my computer science. I wanted to be a data scientist. Everything that I learned in my engineering that used to take days to develop can take weeks. Right? So you should be ready to accept that change. Right? For example, whatever technologies are there, I have zero knowledge in web development. I know very little of HTML and CSS and some JavaScript. But whatever you can do, I can say I can understand what you do and I just put some protein prompts and get the same for what you do. So for you, what you need to understand is understand what technologies are already there. Treat them as a competitor. What more value can you add apart from what these products are? What you need to do is identify what these products cannot do right now. Right? Personalization, hyper-personalization. The client is asking for some certain details in buttons and features and whatnot. AI is not able to do that for you. So where you can bring in that innovation. Right? What I would say is be ready for changing your career altogether. You might start as a web developer, you might end up as a backend developer. You don't stick to one, you just ever evolving. So there is again news that within the next 2 years we'll get Super AGI. Super AGI is nothing but, Super AGI is artificial general intelligence. It basically is a humanoid robot with all the human capabilities in it. It can walk, speak, think, do tasks like. So imagine in those era do we really require this thing. A lot of things will be automated enough. What I would say is think on those lines on what more innovation you can bring in, what more things that you can get. Correct. See, by then, I'll tell you what will happen. The generative AI domain itself will be self-sustaining. So generate its own applications and generate its own websites and do a lot of things. So you have to be ready for those changes in the industry. So don't go through all those tools. Like there are 50,000 plus, 5,000 plus tools. Not making sense. Pick those tools and help you have a tried out video. Yes, sir. Building website. Have you tried out Adobe Firefly? One thing that will definitely have to try. Figma is something that people put up their mockups and then try to convert it into code. And Figma also has a feature now. You just show what the layout is and it automatically creates the code for you. Right? Same thing with Adobe Firefly. Adobe Firefly is another level of Figma. So all that is already automated. Is there any meaning learning very basic? So you have to think about it. So explore what tools are more relevant. Rather than many of these 5,000 tools, learn more on Adobe Firefly. How you can use that to make your work even better. Implement this GENERATIVE in your Firefly process, in your pre-Firefly process, see how that works. Learn those things.
Actually, sir, recently I started using Hugging Face because on September 14, January, there was a workshop conducted by the next week. I attended the group and then I started using it. So I didn't know about any small things about Hugging. I started using it.
Yeah, you should keep learning. See, even till date, I work 5 days in a week. The rest 4 days I don't rest.
Alright, so alright. So I'll not take a lot of your time. It's what 4:17 right now. We'll try to wind it up by 4:45. I know you're all already tired with the industry visit and whatnot. Okay, couple of concepts that I want to cover, which are super important, right? It's called responsibility. Now we checked out a lot of concepts. Excuse me. We explored a lot of concepts that involve generative AI, right? We generated new text, we generated new images, we modified images, we did a lot of things. Now, what is the guarantee that these will not be used for wrong purposes, right? That is basically called as responsible AI. Now, without responsible AI, no company can take their Gen AI workloads to production. Recently, a law and a bill was passed in Europe which said you can't use generative AI for anything and everything. Whatever application you build, before you take it to production, you need to come to the government and get a sign off saying this is ready to be deployed to production, right? So everyone in the industry right now are moving towards responsible AI. For example, a very good example of responsible AI would be if you deploy a customer support chatbot. How many of you are aware that Amazon recently deployed a customer support chatbot called Genie? Yeah, I think some of you are aware of it, right? I'll tell you what people are using Genie for. Genie is being used for code generation as well. Some of the people are logging into their Amazon website and asking Genie to create code samples rather than using it for browsing through products and everything, right? Why? Because there was no banner or like there was no guardrail set on what this chatbot can do. I'll tell you where this can go wrong. Let's say I have a company where I've created a chatbot to assist you with train bookings. As simple as that. Or let's say flight booking. If you ask some financial advice from my chatbot and my chatbot gives you financial advice saying go invest in this stock, you can file a legal complaint against me. You can file a case against me, right? So we need to ensure that the chatbots can only do so much. It should go beyond that, right? Another very strong example would be cryptocurrencies. Will Bitcoin go up or will Bitcoin go down? I'm not sure. Let's say I have deployed the same chatbot, what we were discussing, right? For instance, let's ask the same set of questions. Right. Now I'm going to ask a question saying, summarize the generative AI and cybersecurity challenges event. Right. So I just asked it about our event, whatever we are doing right now, and it's retrieving and generating a response. Okay. It says it's a workshop focused on exploring so and so. This is what we are doing, and basically everything about the event that we are doing. I'm going to ask one question saying, will Bitcoin go up? So it's indirectly a financial advisory question that I'm asking. If the chatbot answers this, I should be the one responsible if you invest and lose money there. You see what the LLM said? Apologies, this model cannot be used to discuss inappropriate or off-topic content. This is how you put guardrails to a chatbot or any other LLM use cases. So necessarily what you do is, there's something called as guardrails, where you can create a guardrail. For example, I'm going to quickly show you how you can create a guardrail, right? Let's say financial advisory guardrail. Messaging for the block prompt should be out of context question will not be able to answer, right? Now I want to enable harmful content categories. The model shouldn't answer in terms of hate, insults, any kind of violence or sexual topics or misconduct, right? And even in terms of prompt attacks. If the prompt attack is very high, I should reject it. Now, some financial advisory, right? Let me just type in something. So I'm just defining what kind of things it should answer. Investment advice, stock markets, let's say cryptocurrencies, again information about investments, anything. I just have to define some of these things, right? If I have to add some sample phrases, where should I invest my money? Or I can add something like, where do I put my money? Right. So I can add certain such things, and then I'm going to quickly click on confirm. Let's go to the next. So I can leave this as is. This is all good. This is fine. And I'm going to create this guardrail. Right? Now I've created this guardrail. What I'm going to do is, I'll quickly select the model. So let me just ask, what is your view on NASDAQ? So you see what it said. NASDAQ is nothing but the US markets. It said out of context will not be able to answer the question. If I ask something like how has NASDAQ grown over the years? Again, I'm asking about stock information, so it will not answer. I can ask how is the Indian real estate market? This seems to be running. The reason being I didn't define that in the guardrail. Real estate is not an investment that I defined. I only defined stock markets and real estate. So here you see the final response. It has actually given me a final response. Right? If I ask any questions on the lines of where should I invest my money? Straight away says out of context. That's basically how you use guardrails, and it is very important if any of the companies should take any products to market or to production, they should use these guardrails to put a blocker to it. Right? That's basically how guardrails works. Alright, any questions so far? Anything? Let's look at one more solution in fact. How many of you are students here, by the way? Show of hands. Okay. Good set of students. How are you prepping for your, let's say, placements in terms of interviews? What tools do you use? What websites do you use for prep? Anything. I mean, you'll be, of course, referring to some websites, understand what kind of questions are asked in the interviews and all that, right? Any websites or any tools that you're using for your interview? Sorry. Anything? No? Gemini. Gemini for this by Google, right? Are you using anything like HackerRank, HackerEarth, Interview Practice? Those are the things that I'm asking for, right? So this is again a tool that I built for MS Ramaya and Army as well, who are using it currently for their interview, right? So I'll tell you how it works. First thing is evaluation of resume, right? Let's take a look at. I'll just give an input of a resume of one of my colleagues. Let me just find one of the resumes. Okay. Let me pick one of my colleagues' resume that I've just given as a. First thing is, are your resumes good enough to be filtered for most of these interviews that you go for? How is the screening process? What does the screening process work? Right? You need to understand all of these nuances. So here on the left hand side, you will see text extraction complete, and I have the text extract response. Just a while ago, we saw how extract works to extract the text out of the documents. Now here you can see the entire resume is being converted into JSON. What is the candidate's name? What is their education profile? They studied in PS Bangalore. What is the work experience? Amazon, Sapient. What are the skill sets? Python, Java, C. Maven, Docker, JMeter, and whatnot, right? Projects, what are the projects that are done? Certifications none, what are the personal details? Next is, we generate a list of questions for this candidate's profile, right? Now it has generated a list of questions for this candidate's profile. It says, could you walk me through your experience working as a cloud engineer at Amazon? A bunch of questions for you to practice, tell the answer and practice, right? Now we go for the evaluation where you can actually record the answers and practice your answers, right? Just like how an interview happens. What happens in an interview? You go sit, you give your resume, they look at your resume and ask some relevant questions. Now, sometimes there are some follow-up questions they ask if they are not happy with the complete answer. Or if they want to know more about you, they ask follow-up questions. Exactly what we are doing here. So I can either record an answer, I'm just going to drop one of the recorded answers that I have already recorded. Excuse me. Yeah, so I'm just going to record this. I have already recorded a certain answer. I'm just going to upload that, right? Now what? So how does the LLM, how will the LLM be able to evaluate your answers which are in voice? Does the LLM understand audio? No. So what will be the first step? Converting audio to text, right? That is called transcription. So there's one model that will enable me to transcribe. While this happens, I can actually quickly show you what this transcribe does, right? Let me quickly show that to you. Alright, let me actually quickly show you how the transcribe works. This is basically how the solution is working as well. For example, I uploaded audio file. This is what I have answered in the audio file. How was it able to get this information from just an audio file? Let's quickly check it out. Real-time transcription. See how Amazon Transcribe creates a text copy of speech in real time. Choose start streaming and talk. So you're able to see what's happening here, right? Whatever I just said in real time, it's able to generate a text out of it. It means conversion of speech to text. Exactly what exactly happened here as well. I uploaded an audio.wav file, or it could be MP3 file or MP4 file. That gets converted onto text. Now what I'll do is, okay, let's say for this particular question, I've made a lot of grammatical mistakes while answering this question, just to see how well the model will be able to evaluate on both technical fronts and on the grammatical fronts. So I made a grammatical error saying I have worked a lot on AWS. It should be I have worked a lot on AWS, right? So let's go ahead and submit this for evaluation. So this is again the same tool that I was talking about. That the MS Ramaya and RD students are using for their interview prep just before they go to any interviews, right? So what this does is this reads your resume and then creates a set of questions for you. Then you come back to this tool and answer those questions in real time. And then you click on submit to evaluate the answers. Here is the evaluation report, technical evaluation. Based on skimming of the candidate's response, the candidate claims to have 25 years of AWS experience, but AWS is only launched in 2006, so this is exaggerated, right? They mentioned working on EC2 and call it serverless when EC2 is actually virtual server, so this is technically incorrect. They claim to have created Lambda functions in Bangalore region, but Lambda was not available in Bangalore region till this. That is also wrong. So it's able to detect what are the technical inaccuracies that the candidate is saying and give them references to learn more about it. So for this, the students can go understand where they went wrong, go learn more about it, and then they can basically go to the next step. Here, a lot of grammatical mistakes that I have made in the answer, it is pointing out that as well, saying how I can make my English also better, right? So this is just one level of it. Now coming to the coding assessment as well, right? For example, let's say write a program to print all prime numbers between 1 to n. Let me just get it from Geeks for Geeks. Let me get whatever the answer that I find at the top. I want a Python-based answer. So, yeah. So let me do one thing. I'm just going to quickly copy paste this answer. The paste. Let's give it a minute. Okay. Now Python, I'm just going to quickly copy this and go back to the code. When I run this code, I'm getting all the prime numbers printed. Right. Now this goes to the evaluation. This executed the if block for me. Just a minute, I think there's some delay in the response. Yeah. Now it executed the X block and it did an analysis on the code that I have written. It says, here is the analysis of your time complexity and suggested optimizations for the provided code. And it is telling me how I can optimize my code for. Right? This is how you can use generative AI, ML and DL for the students as well to help them prep for the interviews in the future as well. Right? Before you sit for placements or go for any kind of interviews to any of the companies, you can actually use tools like this to understand more about where is your gap in terms of technical capabilities, fix those, and then you can go in well. Right? And finally, an interview summary of whatever you answer. This is about the candidate, this is the evaluation report, coding assessment report, so you get a complete report saying here is where you can improve and all of that. So this is just one of those examples where you can use that in real time. Right? So these are some of the, again, I didn't want to throw a lot of theoretical information for this particular session. So I just wanted to show some demos and then some products on how you can use that in day-to-day life. Right? So that's pretty much what I had for today. I'll use, I think, at least 10 minutes for any kind of Q&A. Any questions that you have, do let me know. Any questions? It could be anything, getting started on ML, getting started on generative AI. What does the future look like? I mean, I don't know, but I can just take a peek at it, say this is what it can do to at least be relevant for the industry in the next 10 years. Right? One thing is very important, you'll have to stay relevant to the industry, you'll have to learn a lot of things. That's what I've been doing as well. I work 5 days a week, but the rest of the other 2 days I'll spend on learning something new again, right? That's how you will stay relevant to the industry. So, yeah, let me know if any of you have any questions. I know it's been a long day for all of you. You can leave early as well. I think, yeah, it's still 4:40. You can all leave early today, but any questions before that? Anyone, just a question, I ask this question everywhere I go. Anyone who's scared that generative AI is going to take your jobs in the future? Nobody? I'm scared. I'll be honest. Why not? Right? One way to embrace this entire wave is to learn along with it. Like I said, generative AI will not totally replace you. You will be replaced by someone who knows how to use generative AI. As simple as that. So ensure you are one of those few people who understands this technology and knows how to use this and so on. So get on the wagon. There's a lot of courses out there. There are a lot of open source models for you to sit and test it out. These elements can run on your laptops as well, right? So you don't need very huge GPUs and all of that. So you have all the resources at your disposal. Just use them and make the best use of it. I was telling a couple of folks who are asking me, how should I learn certain tools? How should I do certain things? Right? They are super interested in the web development, video general. Now I told them, do you really feel it's relevant probably 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line? Don't you think the machines will be able to develop websites on their own? Right? So you have to be accustomed to it, you will have to continuously learn and then increase your expertise there. So that's what I would say, and yeah, I think I'll end my few words with that. So, thank you.